Yeah.
What is it?
Really?
No.
Paul?
Yeah. No. I get it. Tell Me a Story is it's actually based on an Argentinian, I believe it's Argentinian television series. Kevin Williamson adapted it for American television, and it's essentially takes fairy tales that we all grew up with as children. The Three Little Pigs, Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, and it recontextualizes them. It puts them in New York City, and it humanizes them. So there's nothing supernatural about our show. These are actual humans, but they very subtly and very sort of intricately fill the shoes of these archetypes. So like my character is actually one of the little pigs, and I'm a guy who's down on his luck, who's comes from a very sort of broken life, and I make a choice to do something quite bad, and that is the catalyst for the story of the Three Little Pigs, and that is how Jordan, James's character, and I intersect. So I hope I explained that okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's basically fairy tale set in a modern day setting, grounded in real life. Like, what would the version of Hansel and Gretel be if it was a brother and sister who had to deal with some event happening in New York City? What is the story of Little Red Riding Hood? It's the story of a teenage girl who strays from home and what happens. So it's very grounded, and it's not at all fantasy, but it borrows fairy tale elements.
So is it more about extracting the moral or metaphor
That's
of the story and
Exactly.
contextualizing it?
That's exactly right, yeah. Which I think will be fun for audiences at home, because we all know those stories, whether they were told to us by our grandparents when we were kids, or whether we read them in school. Those stories live in all of us. So I think to see it manifested, in a 10-episode series, an adult drama, is going to be exciting for people to watch, yeah.
Does it turn the stories on their ear at all? Like, kind of twist that?
Well, yeah, I think Kevin's sort of taken the liberty. We don't know what happens because we've only been exposed to 4 episodes, and we've only shot really like 1 or 2-ish. We're crossboarding, but Kevin says that at least he did in the panel that we just did, the big panel, that the outcome in the fairy tale may not be the outcome in our story. So he may twist it, and so for example, the Three Little Pigs, the third pig who built his house of brick was the one who outsmarted the wolf, and hard work, is what sort of was his great sort of strength. But in today's world, does hard work really pay off? That's the question that he asked. So maybe that isn't. Maybe the little pig doesn't outsmart the wolf. For example.
Absolutely.
Oh shit!
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good luck with the show.
Oh, that's fancy. What is that?
That is Zoom H4n.
Looks like it's going to electrocute me.
Those are great.
Doesn't it? It looks like it's going to shot like. It looks like it's. Oh wow, and that one too is fancy. No one has this fancy. Yeah, they're all like technology. This is real. Well, I never really thought about doing it until I got sent the format from the Spanish format, and it just reminded me of Scream, actually, and the deconstruction of all of that stuff. And, it's like funny because, we all know the tropes, and I love to play in them, and I'd actually love to present them the way they are, and then not, and then twist them and spin them around a little bit, or misdirect you. Oh, you think you're getting the tropes, and then subvert it a little. And then that's what the fun of this is, and you get to take all these well-known fairy tales, put them in a modern-day context, so right away you're sort of offset. You're not quite sure who the wolf is. You're not quite sure, what fairy tale are they telling here, and why is it the same fairy tale we've already seen? Is this really going to end with a happy ending? Well, the original ones didn't really. They were sort of mean and dark, and
They were.
yeah, they were like Hansel and Gretel was about cannibalism. We don't go that far, but we definitely take the theme of hunger and famine, which was when it was written in the Middle Ages. And we definitely show 2 characters who have been abandoned, a brother and sister, and thrown away, and they're trapped in the woods of New York City. And we watch how they come across some candy they shouldn't touch, and then they do, and it comes along with an evil witch. So it's kind of it's sort of a drama. but you'll recognize the fairy tale aspect of it, and it's fun. It's fun. You get a wink, and yet at the same time, it's humorous. It's kind of, if you enjoyed Scream and Vampire Diaries, it's like an adult Vampire Diaries without the supernatural. There's no supernatural.
Fairy tales have been tackled before on TV recently.
Yes.
And to better or worse effect. What makes this, you've seen the Argentine, you've taken from the Argentine thing. What makes this one really different?
It's real. It's grounded. The other ones that were quite successful were supernatural fantasy, and these are all real and grounded. It's drama. It's like the original fairy tales were written at their time. They're very topical of their time. What would they look like today if we were going to write them? We live in a world of rage and anger and a divided people, and we deal with it head on. And so we take the topics of today and apply them to the fairy tales. And it makes for sort of a really cool drama, and it allows, and being on streaming and cable allows you to be messier. You can be more multi-layered. The good guy's not always the good guy. The bad guy could be heroic. And it's all about a bunch of damaged, troubled, broken people who have lost their path, because that's all about straying from the path. And what's your path? Stray from it, what happens? What are the consequences of it? And in the end, at the same time, you get the fun wink of, oh, he's the little pig. Oh, he's the little, and it's actually, it's just a fun way to sort of tackle a new drama. And the thing I like about it, to answer your question, is, I sat down and said, what can I do that's not like anything else on TV? And that's why I'm doing it. This show doesn't exist on TV, and so I'm hoping that other people feel the same way, and watch it, because I think it's fun. It's it's twisty, it's dark, it's emotional, it's sexy, it's has a great cast, and it's it has a lot of cliffhangers, and it's a fun show.
Is the intent to tell a story per episode?
No, it's a 10-episode, and all 3 storylines is like a serialized drama. And so each episode, may be Three Pigs heavy, the next one may be Hansel and Gretel heavy. But what's nice is they sort of intersect a little bit, and they bump up against each other. Like, the movies like Magnolia, and it's kind of like that. They kind of like are in each other's space, and then as it moves along, they get more involved in each other. And they start overlapping, and they start intersecting, and they become very necessary to each other as we build to. And what's nice about this is 10 episodes, it ends. There's an ending. And we will launch into 3 more fairy tales next year with brand new cast, brand new everything. So you get that whole sort of added extra measure of who lives, who dies. It's fun, and it's more, it's just more adult than I think the other shows that we were talking about skew more younger, and this is much more adult.
Awesome. I'm really excited.
It's fun. Great cast.
As a fantasy novelist myself, I can't wait.
Well, I hope I don't disappoint.
I won't be. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, guys. Hey.